been a good couple of weeks for you. The draft,
schedule,
Aaron Rodgers drama.
Oh my gosh, the
schedule,
amazeballs.
And we got the gift. It was almost like Christmas, you know, God's gift to us with Tebow.
Yeah, that was a big story.
In the middle of the week. Well, there's a lot of skepticism about the Jags potentially signing Tim Tebow as a tight end. And apparently the same attitude is circulating among the Jags coaching staff. According to Jeff Darlington, there is serious disagreement within the organization about signing the former quarterback. Beyond the emotional side of this and beyond the wonders of why, is just the reality that it's really not practical. It's really not likely to work. Urban Meyer would say, hey, I'm going to add anybody to my team who has the potential to better this organization, to which you could look at this and say, how is this going to better the organization? There's really not very much upside at all.
You're asking Tim Tebow out of the league for 8 years to become a new position. That's like asking a punter out of the league for 8 years to become a kicker. Well, they're both kickers. Not really. They're specialists. To be a quarterback and a tight end are two totally different positions. It's like saying, well, you work at a hospital. Yeah, but a pediatrician's not a brain surgeon. They're both doctors.
Well, if punters and kickers were the same position, tight ends and quarterbacks were the same position, why do you need extra roster spots for those specific positions? They're not the same job.
And the tight end position, I would argue this, Joy, the tight end position in football has changed more than any position in football. It is now often where you put an incredible athlete. You know, for years and years, it was like if you couldn't block, you couldn't play the position. Right. It's like Travis Kelce's not going to block. Nobody cares. The bottom line is Kyle Pitts from Florida. He's not really a blocker. He went fourth. The bottom line now, you put it's the place where you put that 6'5.5" athlete
that's incredibly fast,
that has too good of hands to put on defense. Yep. Like it's become, you start looking at the tight end position in the NFL and you're like, they can become leading receivers. Travis Kelce's their top target. So Tebow 7 years ago wasn't athletic enough to be tight end. Now the position's become hyper athletic.
Well, Tebow hasn't been great since college.
Right.
He had a moment of good. And, I mean, listen, everyone laughed at the baseball thing. I think he did well at baseball. I mean, he did better than a lot of baseball players have done over the years.
It was a fun story.
It's a fun story. And look, people are mad at the opportunities that Tim Tebow gets, and I understand that. It feels very unfair.
Yeah.
It's more about who you know than what you're actually capable of. But with this situation, and what Jeff Darlington is referring to, is what you don't want to do in bringing in Tim Tebow is leave so many questions about how it is you're actually building your organization. Are you truly interested in bringing in the best people for the job? Because there's no question there are better people for the job than Tim Tebow.
Of course.
It's just without question. The worst tight end that got cut last year in the league is better than Tim Tebow right now.
Of course.
So what is the actual reason? Now, you floated a theory yesterday.
Pension.
Which could entirely be possible. Right now, Tim Tebow is vested 3 years in the league, so his pension is around a little less than $20,000.
A year.
A year, yes. If he's vested as a 4-year player, it goes up significantly.
Doubles.
I mean, it's very difficult to get the exact numbers on all of this, but if he basically plays 3 or 4 more games and he's vested as a 4-year player, it's going to go up significantly. Like it's going to go up to $60,000 or $70,000 a year from $20,000. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you play 3 more games in the NFL, hey, I get extra money for coming in as a check every year for the rest of my life. Now, that seems a bit hacky that you would sign Tim Tebow to play 3 games for that amount of money that Tim could probably make doing an appearance. It feels a little forced. It feels like there's too many questions around it for it to be just, yes. So the Lions were on the phone with a final offer to trade up when the Falcons were on the clock with the 4th overall pick. They obviously ended up taking Kyle Pitts. But in a video the Falcons posted yesterday from inside their draft room, in their war room, Atlanta general manager Terry Fontenot takes a call from the Lions when the Falcons are on the clock.
Ooh, let's see.
Lions. Hey, what's up, man? Good, pretty good.
We got Detroit on the line, do too.
Yeah, we're there. It's the same. It's what we talked about. Okay, yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right.
So the GM and presumably the Lions GM have a short conversation that they show there. basically saying this is not a better deal than we had already talked about. We're going to go ahead and pick and take Kyle Pitts. Now, we don't know who the Lions were targeting. They obviously ended up taking Penei Sewell at 7.
Which is good because Goff needs a good O-line. Now, Jared Goff's a different quarterback. Bad O-line, good O-line. I honestly think Kyle...
I like that pick. I'm so curious to know who they were trying to trade up to take. They couldn't have been trying to trade up for Penei Sewell.
Who were you talking, Detroit?
Yeah.
Oh, I think they wanted Kyle Pitts.
Can you do that if you're Detroit?
I think Kyle Pitts is so great. They lost Kenny Golladay. I actually think Detroit's better off, actually. Kyle Pitts works with a veteran quarterback, and I like Atlanta's O-line.
Right.
Jared Goff needed Penei Sewell, or he wouldn't have time to throw to Kyle Pitts.
That's what I'm saying.
I actually think Detroit and Atlanta got the perfect player for them.
But you think that Detroit was trying to take a swing for Kyle Pitts?
Yes. I think they were. I never bought into this. Carolina's going to draft another quarterback, and Detroit's going to draft. I never bought those stories at all.
I mean, I don't know. I'd like to know. I think you're probably right because of why do you make that move for Jared Goff? And I think that Jared Goff is good enough that you can build around him, like we've seen if he gets the right coaching.
If you give Jared Goff 3.5 seconds, he'll complete passes. He showed when it gets down to 3 seconds or 2.75, it's not the same quarterback.
Things start to fall apart. All right. Well, Oakland. I don't know what to tell you. Oakland Athletics reportedly have permission from MLB to seek relocation with the team's current ballpark situation in limbo. The A's have been trying to get a new stadium for years, but the plans keep getting tied up by government officials. According to Jeff Passan, the current proposal involves the Athletics privately funding $1 billion for the stadium. The team is asking for an $855 million commitment from the city for infrastructure improvements, and they're also seeking $400 million to be funded by the taxpayers.
Good luck in California getting that.
Well, according to the mayor's office, the city said it's willing to bear its resources to help make the vision a reality. However, the requests for public investment at the high end of projects of this type nationwide, they're not.
Bottom line
is
much. Silicon Valley has trillion-dollar days. At some point, if the A's are going to remain in Oakland, go to Silicon Valley and say, hey, any of you guys like baseball? We'll give you a big chunk of the team.
You can't ask taxpayers to pay $400 million in the city of Oakland for a stadium.
No, especially in California. New York and California. Good luck going to your taxpayers and asking for more money.
Anywhere. We just came out of a pandemic. We're still in a pandemic, actually. We're still in a pandemic. You can't ask. Before the pandemic, you couldn't ask for this money. But $400 million for a stadium is absurd. I get it. The stadiums do bring in an incredible amount of revenue to the cities. They can provide a boost for the communities that they're in. Or they can do quite the opposite and not provide a huge influx of money into the area. I mean, a great example of this is Marlins Park, which was funded by the taxpayers and was pretty much the crown jewel of why you don't get taxpayer money to build these stadiums anymore.
Boondoggle. That's been a total boondoggle.
The park is beautiful. It's great, but it was supposed to just have all these stores and shops. And
nothing.
It's a billion-dollar organization. You make plenty of money. Pay for the stadium yourselves. You cannot ask taxpayers to give $400 million for a stadium.
Good stuff, Joy, with the news.
Well, that's the news.